Back onto the Romulan Bird of Prey. As you can see, the PE up here had a gap in it, so I have Bondo on there. I'm gonna try to smooth that down. If it doesn't work, then what I'm gonna have to do is try to use my metal files and smooth this out until they become even. There was a huge gap around the plasma emitter over here. I had to fill that in around the sides. Pretty much not happy. When I put the top on, there's a big gap between the PE and the top portion of the body of the kit. Messing around with the fin, I kind of cracked it, so I had to put more Bondo in here, just waiting for that to dry, and then we'll get that done. So what we're going to end up doing is not lighting this kit. This isn't accurate at all to what we've seen on screen, so I'm not going to waste a good board on here, and I'm not going to waste the time to light it. So we're just going to build this static with no lights, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to order another one of these, and I'm going to order the PE again, and I'm just going to use the front portion here and these portions over here. And then we're gonna do exactly like we saw in the show. We'll light up some of the windows up here, and we'll light up some of the windows down here, I think it was. And I don't think we've seen anything lit up here. I gotta look again. If they're not, we'll leave that. And there's only 1 or 2 windows lit up on the front. So we'll light that little bit, and then we'll put the photon, or I should say plasma emitter up front. This way we can have that firing and do the kit again. I'd rather have it like we've seen on screen. This is actually a good learning experience for me with the PE, because I'm having a hell of a time with it. So the more and more I do it, the better I'll get at it. We put the wings together. There's a few issues with the wings. There's a big gap right here, so I'm gonna have to put some glue in there and squeeze it, and once I do, that should go away and I should be able to just sand it down. We also have, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but the tip of the second piece is bent. So hopefully when I put that in there, we'll run a bead of Plastruct Bondine, and that'll keep that correct too. On the second wing, you can see this one is bent. So once we get the glue on there, that should be fine. And then we have up front, again, we have the seam over here, and we'll do the same thing as the other wing. So if you get this as a snap tight kit, you're definitely gonna need some glue. Even with squeezing the wings together, there's still a gap. You can see hopefully the Bondo in this wing here, and you can actually see it better on this one here. I had to fill in the front edge with Bondo just to get rid of that gap. The pins for the wings on my kit aren't the greatest. I can snap the first one in, but the back pin is aligned with this piece right here, so I'm actually gonna have to cut it off and glue this in instead of snapping it. You can see here, I can't force it over anymore to get that pin to sit in there. The other side wing is the opposite. The back end meets up, but the front end doesn't meet up. So I'm gonna have to cut that one and do the same thing we did on the other side. Okay, because your friend Kenny here's a big dummy and forgot to turn on his microphone, I have to redo these 2 parts. I put the wings on, and when I put the body down, the body doesn't snuggle up very nicely. There's a big gap over here and a gap over here, which I had to run a bead of glue down to hold it. Now on the back end, I don't know if you could see the bubbles over here, but that's the Plastruct Bondine. It actually welds the plastic together. There was a huge gap on both sides because the body wouldn't mate up, so we just put that there. Now next up, what I was doing, I don't know if you could see it here, but there's a nice size gap between the PE and the body itself. So what I'm doing is I'm running a bead of Bondo around the top, and then I'm gonna have to sand all that down and get that looking pretty. What I've learned from this is do the PE second. I don't know if I showed it in the other clip or not. You can see here there's a little gap between the wing and the PE, and on this side there's a window hidden behind the wing. So put the wings on first and then the PE, it should line up properly. So this is definitely gonna be a what if version. I'm not gonna use the Bird of Prey on here just because I heard the decal could fall apart on you. So I'm gonna save that decal because we're gonna be building this again the proper way like we saw on TOS version. We're not gonna have all this stuff on the back. Even though my friend Tom did send me schematics, I'm going by what we saw on the show. This is all in the schematics. This isn't a plasma emitter, it's actually a trash chute, and we have airlocks on the back and then the impulse engines, but none of this was in the TOS version. So we're gonna leave that off. The only thing we're gonna really do is this and this and this, and we'll have a TOS version. So I'm gonna figure out a different paint scheme, and we'll do something with this. So we're working on the nacelles now, or nacelles. I'm not sure how you say it. I always say nacelles. We will have some issues with a gap, not a gap, but a seam line over here that's gonna have to be cleaned up, and a seam line over here that's gonna have to be cleaned up. And if you think you're gonna press fit these and get away with just having the nacelle cap in here like this, I know it's the wrong color, we're going what if. This does not stay in at all. So I'm gonna have to use some canopy glue, put that in there, and we got the nacelles done, as you can see with the Bondo. This is where the gaps were down the ends of the nacelles as we put them together. So the other side wasn't bad. The other side was actually clean. Once I used Plastruct Bondine on it and squeezed it, that seam just went away. The other side, the seam was pretty big. Well, that's it. All the primer's on. She's ready to go. I was going to do something silly. I was actually going to put Big Bird on the bottom of here, but then I forgot. I probably can't print out white, or I'd have to get white back paper. So actually I came up with another cool idea. I think it's cool anyhow. So we're done with this one. The next part's going to be painting. I'm going to change over to the green messy mat, and hopefully you like the idea I come up with for this. Well, thanks for stopping by and checking out the next part on the Romulan Bird of Prey. Like I said, I'm not going to do the version with the bird on the bottom. I'm going to save that decal because I'm going to redo this in the TOS version. I don't like this on the back. The wing stuff I don't like either. I know there's schematics out there made in 1977, but I think that dude was just a super fan of the show, designed some blueprints, and said that's what was on the ship. It's definitely not what we saw in the show. I could be wrong on his affiliation with the show, but none of the stuff on the ship PE-wise, except for the rings over here, is what we saw. So I'm ordering another one of these kits. We're gonna redo it. We're gonna do a TOS version, but now we'll have 2 decals just in case anything does happen to the bird on the bottom. So stay tuned for the next one. I hope you like my plans for it. If you like this video, please throw a thumbs up on it. It helps the YouTube algorithm spread it to other modelers. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. We're only 10 subscribers away from the 4,000 giveaway, and that's going to be a 1/350 scale USS Enterprise refit. So we'll see you in the next video. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves out there. Be good, take care, and bye-bye, everybody.